Good day everyone, I am Marhana A. Unutan, one of the assigned reporter to discuss the Module 3, the barriers of effective communication and listening process. So when we say barriers, it is a noise or wall and obstacles to decode or understand the message of the sender of this or the speaker by the audience or receiver. It is the obstacle that the receiver cannot understand what speaker telling or uh, talking because of the barriers or the noise or the wall or let's discuss this in our next slide. So before that, let's know first the objectives of this module. So at the end of this module, students are expected to identify the different barriers of communication and enumerate their own listening process and apply the provided listening process. So the barriers to effective communication is one is mindset, just like that. First is the mindset. If you have different beliefs in life, principle, attitude, and prejudice and experience, you there is a barriers to that effective communication or to that communication. So, when you enter into a communication situation, you bring with you your beliefs, principle, attitude, prejudice, and experiences. So, when you are in a communication, example, you're communicating to the family matters. So, as what uh as what the speaker asks you, then you have different answer on that. You have different perception and beliefs and attitude. So, you have different how to answer that question if you're communicating like that. So, that's the barrier that affect the communication. Example is if the teacher asking like just like what the family doing during Sunday. So as you are different, everyone is different in each other, we have on differences. So you ask by your beliefs, principle, and by your attitude or judgment and experiences. So that's the whole today. The class is different answered, different uh, answer, just like that. Then B is the distraction. So when we say distraction, such as noise, can also be barriers to effective communication. So noise is a distraction. So when just example is this one, we are having an online class. So the distraction, if the teacher is explaining, then you are in at home listening to the teacher, but the people beside you or surround you is playing music or have a loud voice, that will be a distraction to you to not focus to the what the teacher saying or talking. So there are several type of noise. We have a physical noise, physiological noise, psychological noise, semantic noise, and factual noise. So, when we say physical noise, the example of this is a voice of your classmate or the loud voice of your classmate. Example, we're focusing to the example a while ago, the online class. So, so that we can relate all, no? Then physical noise. So the physical noise is when the teacher is explaining or discussing. Then the physical noise is the people beside you is talking too loud or asking you while you are listening to the teacher. That is the or barriers physical barriers. So you cannot decode or understand what the speaker saying because of the physical noise or because of the people surrounded you is have a noise or playing music, just like that. Then psychological noise is any physical discomfort. So if the barrier here in psychological noise is the speaker or the audience is have a physical discomfort. They are not feeling well. So if you are the audience or listener, then the speaker is talking, then you have a headache or a cough, just like that, or any physical discomfort, you cannot focus to what the speaker talking or saying, right? Because you are not feeling well, so you feel like lazy, just like that, or you can focus to the speakers what they saying or talking or what the topic they are discussing. So next is the psychological noise is any mental or emotional distraction. So example is you have a trauma on that topic, so can actually comport to that if you have trauma on that topic, or trauma on that topic, so you overthink so that you cannot focus to the speaker. So that's the barrier or the wall why the effective communication is not there, or you cannot decode understand what the speaker talking. So next one is the semantic noise. Semantic noise is an inability to understand word. So when we say semantic word is you confuse if to the speaker. The speaker is using a unfamiliar word, an ability to understand word. You can't understand if you're the listener, you cannot understand the speaker how she used their word. So it's not specific. So there are also a barriers. You cannot understand if that speaker is talking a deep expression or a deep word. So that's its semantic noise. So next is the factual noise, missing and omitting the main point. So it's when you say a factual noise, you're are missing and omitting the main point. You can you are recalling something in your head. So noise is recall something in your head while the speaker is talking. Then you're also thinking that, recalling that, just like, yes, I know this, just like that. So you cannot focus to the speaker talk, what is they talking, because of uh, your argumentally. You force your mind to recall the details of that topic, and there is the barrier. You can understand the communication. You can understand what is the topic or the discussion. So, other barriers may include the inability to organize your thought, to express your idea correctly, and to pronounce word correctly. So, other barriers why the listener or the audience cannot understand what you're talking, or they cannot join or understand join the communication because of unable to organize your idea. So you should organize your idea step by step, or to understand by the audience, and express your ideas correctly and pronounce the word correctly. So as a speaker, we need to pronounce the word correctly so that the listener can understand what are we talking, so that we don't have a barriers or problem during our communication. So how can this barrier be overcome? So there are a type so that we can overcome or surpass this barrier. So one, you should never lose sight of your purpose and communicating to it, to provide information, to establish better relation, to affect manage other, to me your listeners. Whenever your purpose is, you should be objective and sincere. So you should not out of topic or out ideas. You should never lose sight of your purpose. So every speaker, by how they speak is have a purpose. So you should never lose of it. You should be focused on what is the topic. Don't jump to other while you're not done to one topic. And committing to provide information, then establish better relationship so that you build a good listening by you and by your audience, to effective manage other, so that the communication will be effective managed. Then whenever your purpose is, you should be objective and sincere. So to overcome this barrier, you should be sincere on what you're saying and objective. You as a speaker, you should consider your audience, where are you, or what you can use a word, so that you have a good relationship or good communication process. Then second is in any speaking situation, you must observe the basic principle in use of language. Gray, 1975 to 1978. So here's a identify this basic principle and name them as a maxims of conversation. These are, so we have here four maxims of communication conversation. So here is the basic maxims to overcome the barrier. So number one, maxim of quality that you say must be true and supported by adequate evidence. So you should all the word you say are based on a fact or a truth. So maximum quality that you say true and supported by adequate evidence or supported by fact or theory, just like that. So maximum quantity that you say must be informative. So to overcome the barrier, so you must say a informative topic, or so that the listener will listen to you, focus on you, because you're saying information that will help them or helping the nation or the community. So maximum point that you say must be informative. You say a thing or information that give knowledge to the audience. So that's the overcome the barrier or the wall to the communication process. So C, maximum relevant that you see is relevant to what is being discussed or what need to be discussed. So here's maximum relevance. What you say, you should know the topic you are discussing. So you must be relevant, or you are not out of the topic. You are out not out of the topic you say. So what you say, it should be relevant to the topic or to the discussion. That is the number 3 principles of conversation. So number 4, maximum manners. What you say is organized and clear. So to overcome the barrier to the effective communication, you must be what you see is organized and clear, so that the listener will understand what you are talking or saying. So organize your thought. You should say or tell information in the clear way, so that the overcome the we will overcome the barriers to the conversation. So we are done to overcome the barriers to communication. Now let's talk about the common barriers to effective communication. Here's the common reason why there are barriers to effective communication or to the communication. So number 1 is the use of jargon. So the use of the unfamiliar word. So if you are talking in an old man, then you use your like the generation G language, then there will be a barriers. The receiver will not understand what you're talking because you use a jargon words or the unfamiliar word. Number 2 is the emotional barriers and taboos. So when you say taboos, it is off limit topic. So not usually this is a broad topic or off limit topic that not all will understand or will know. So there will be a barriers if you're talking to, if you're sitting is to the children, then you're talking by, you're acting like you are in the same age. So there will be a barriers to that, because the child or will not understand what you're talking, because you're not in the same level of age. So that is emotional barriers and taboos. So next is the lack of attention, interest, distraction, or relevance to receiver. So if you're talking, then your lack of attention or interest, like you don't have a power to speak, or you're not enjoying what you're talking, or you're distracted or relevance to the receiver, there will be a barriers, because as the speaker bored, the listener or the receiver is also getting bored. So here's the common barriers to the effective communication. So next is the differences in perception and viewpoint. So as we all know, we are all different. So if that will be also a barrier to a communication, or walls or obstacle why we don't understand each other, because of the different perception in viewpoint. So second is the physical disabilities such as hearing problem or speech difficulties. So if you are the audience or listener, then you have a hearing problem, you will not understand what the speaker talking or saying, because you have a hearing problems. So if you are the speaker, then if you have a speech difficulties, your listener or audience will not understand you, because you have a speech difficulties. You cannot say the word clear and correctly. So physical barriers to non-verbal, this is also a part of the common barriers to effective communication. Physical barriers to non-verbal communication. Alhamdulillah. So physical barriers to non-verbal communication. So we'll know that non-verbal communication, we're not using a verbal word. So if you have physical problems, so you have then you are talking to the deep person. So you have a problem in your body, or you have a physical physical disabilities, then there are also barriers to that. You cannot, if the deep will ask where is the location, and you don't have a hand, so that will have a barriers to that. Then next is the language differences and the difficulties to understand unfamiliar accent. So example is the language differences. Example is the Tagalog and English. So if you don't understand English, or you're not familiar or not good in speaking in English, then your person you communicate is a English speaker, or speaker. So there will be a barrier on it. You don't understand each other, and the sender or the receiver will not be decode or understand each other. So next is expectation and prejudice. Prejudice, which may lead to false assumption or stereotyping. So next is the expectation or prejudice or the judgment, which may lead to false assumption. Last one is the cultural differences. So there's also a barrier, a common barriers to effective communication is the cultural differences. So if you have a different culture, you different belief or norms, there will be a barriers to your communication or to what you are doing. So example of it is the viral in Facebook, which is the Indian street food, which here in Philippines we are also we're not using hand to do the cooking on our dishes. We're not actually just the literal, if we stir a juice, then we use hand. No, we use a tool to stir that water. So in India, like what we watch or can watch in Facebook, they use their hand. Then that will be a barrier because you have a different culture and norms. And there they are not in their area or place that it's normal, but in our or in the Philippines it's not normal. It's we say it is dirty. So next slide is here are several ways that can help improve communication. So here's the several ways so we can improve our communication. One is plan your communication. We should plan what we say. So consult with others where appropriate. So if you don't know the topic, you must ask to the expert to explain with you that, so that you can plan your communication or you can improve your communication. So seek to clarify ideas before communicating. So ask to clarify ideas before talking or speaking, so that will improve your communication. You should know the topic so that your idea will clarify or organize. Examine the true purpose of each communication. So by the seeking or asking the topic to the or what you are speaking, if you are the speaker, you ask a what clarify ideas so that you can examine the true purpose of each communication, the purpose or what you are sharing to the audience. So next is the language, tone, and total approach must be adapted to serve the specific objective. So next is consider the total physical and human setting when communicating. So, if you're the speaker, consider the place where you are speaking or you are speaking public. Consider the setting when you are communicating. So, if you're talking to the old or to the child, you should consider that physical and human setting. So next is observe proper timing, the circumstances and the social climate that pervades the communication situation. Then be mindful of the overtone as well as the basic content of the message. So be mindful of the overtones, or if you're speaking your tone is so high, be mindful of it. Be Think about your tone, and if your tone is so high and you are overreacting by speaking, so think about it, be mindful of it, because sometimes your speaker will be misinterpret you're saying, just like your tone is like angry, so they will be a distracted by your tone. Then consider the receiver's harm of message. Then make your message simple, clear, and concise. To improve your communication or communicating, you make your message simple, clear, and concise, concrete, complete, correct. So to improve your communication, or your communication skill, you should use a simple and clear, concise thing. Simple, clear, clear to the audience what you're talking, and complete, correct. Then show interest with in your listener. So as the listener listen to you, show interest that you're enjoying giving it advice or information to them. Do not most of the talking. So use some hand gesture or body gesture, so that the listener will watching you. They're also uh, enjoying of watching you, and also they will understand you by doing a hand gesture or body gesture. If you're saying okay, you must use a okay sign, just sign that uh, the listener or audience will understand you. Then be polite, do not interrupt the speaker. So if you are the listener, uh, be a good listener, you are the listener, be polite, do not interrupt the speaker. If the speaker is talking, you don't interrupt. You should talk after the speaker uh, finish their message or and communicate information given or sharing. Be a good listener. Give the speaker your undivided attention. So be a good listener. Just focus on the speaker so that you will understand what the topic or what the speaker talking and saying. Be a good listener so that you can improve your communication, because if someone asking you what is the topic, you will answer because you give attention to the speaker. You gain knowledge to what the speaker say. So next is ask question when necessary. Use repetition to reinforce key ideas. So you can also, if you are the listener, you can also ask the speaker a question uh, to that ideas or topic that you don't get really understand. And if you're the speaker, you can answer you can ask question to your audience. If they understand you, you can ask some question so that you will know that they understand you. Then take the opportunity when it's arises to convey something or help or value to the receiver. Follow up communication by society feedback. So communicate for tomorrow as well as for today. So the meaning of this is you communicate, you give information that will benefit tomorrow or the other generation. So be sure action support communication. So make sure that if you're having a gesture, that support the communication. It support the communication. So if you're doing a hand gesture or body gesture, be sure that action is supporting what you're saying to that communication. So that's the end of our topic. So thank you.
Good day everyone, I'm Rasul Sulaiman of BS Math 1, and this is the continuation of Marhana Unutan report. So this is my part, listening. So listening, today you probably find it difficult to listen. With television and computer, it may no longer be all that important to listen. You can take as long as you need to read and understand. So yun, in our generation, we find it difficult to give attention or listen to some information that matters. Like in television, there's a lot of information or knowledge that we can gain from that. But as the new generation, we must as a new generation, we give attention or effort that uh, doesn't give us some knowledge. Like in Facebook, we got attracted in any types of application that doesn't give information or knowledge for us. But in order to that, uh, we must have ability to listen accurately and interpret messages in the communication process, because we all know that listening is key to all effective communication. Without ability to listen well, the message of the speaker can easily misunderstood. So the next one is importance of listening. To effect success interaction and to share equal responsibility in achieving effective communication, You, as a receiver of the message, must realize how important listening is. Whatever purpose you have, say, you listen to find directions, to obtain knowledge, to arrive at decisions, to evaluate information, or to show appreciations. And you must understand that listening plays are very important role to effect purposeful interaction. So we can tackle that later. Mm, to listen, we need to make a conscious effort, not to just hear what people are saying, but to take it in, digest it, and understand. Not only does listening enhance our ability to understand better and makes us a better communicator in the future. So yan. So let's proceed in on kinds of listening. So in kinds of listening, we have five. First one is voluntary, the purposeful, motivated, cooperative, and the last one is the critical. So voluntary, good listening begins with a willingness to panic completely in a complete communicative situation. So voluntary, the listener must have a willingness to learn or eagerness to understand the speaker and inspired to gain more knowledge from the speaker. Second one is the purposeful. You choose to listen because of some very good reasons. To listen effectively and purposefully, you must determine what's important to the speaker. Listen and watch the speaker and connect to the speaker. Number three, motivated. When you have good reasons for listening, you are all keyed up for the activity and not can stop you. So when you are motivated to listen for a good reason, your willingness to learn can't be stopped. You are motivated for to learn, and that's why you give effort to listen. Cooperative. You keep quiet and give your wholeheartedly cooperation when you listen because you hope for nothing but only the best from the speaker. So the listener cooperate to the speaker because she or he respect the speaker and also she or he wants to learn from the speaker. She hopes to gain more knowledge from the speaker. The last one is the critical. The most important part, or yeah, critical, you follow the speaker's ideas carefully and things clear so that in the end you may be able to make intellectual judgment when you evaluate his ideas before responding. So this is the most important part. In this part, you can analyze if you learn from the speaker. You can make a judgment or evaluate ideas what you learn from the speaker, and you can give a feedback from the speaker. So the next requisite to good listening is purpose. The first one is to obtain information and gain knowledge. You listen to in and benefit from the experience of others. Understanding and retention are the primary goals. So you listen to the speaker to gain knowledge or gain from their experiences in life. The second one, to appreciate and enjoy what is said. You are pleased with what you hear. You appreciate and enjoy what the speaker talking about. And the third one, to be clarified and make intellectual judgment, fair criticism, and to evaluate ideas. You need to listen to the speaker carefully to clarify and make intellectual judgment and fair criticism to be able to evaluate ideas. The fourth one, to draw inspiration. To draw inspiration, if you are willing to listen, if you are willing and listen wholeheartedly to the speaker, you will be able to draw an inspiration, or you can make the speaker as an inspiration. The last one is to improve oneself. So if you are a good listener, uh, and you want to learn from the speaker, you can improve yourself and become a good communicator or speaker in the future. The listening process. First one, so we have four listening process. The first one is the physical or attention stage. Listening begins with the ability to hear, to catch sounds with the use of auditory system. So I know we are all familiar with the term, with the auditory system. It's a part of our ears that observe sounds, so we can um, so we need to have a healthy auditory system to hear clearly what the speaker says. Second one is the logical or discrimination stage. Sounds caught by the hearing mechanism are transmitted to the brain to be stored out, interpreted, and given meaning. So after your auditory system heard from the speaker, it will transmit to your brain. So yun, after third one is a semantic or comprehension stage. This is the process of translating interrelating sounds into tough symbols. So after you transmit it to your brain, you give meaning on or translate what you've heard from the speaker. The retention stage. This refers to the listener's ability to retain, remember the ideas, convey, and later to use these ideas in interacting with others. So the last process, the listener should has an ability to remember what the speaker said and give an idea or relating from the speaker. So types of listening. Types of listening, we have two types of listening. First one is active listening, as contrasted to passive listening. The former, which is skill, requires effort, so it's required effort on the part of the listener to understand well what the speaker says, while the others, which is natural process, does not. So yan. So second one, serious listening requires concentration of thought. It may be divided. So we have two serious listening. The first one is critical or discriminative listening, and the second one is social listening. So in critical or discriminative listening, it has four levels. The first one is attentive listening. So in attentive listening, it's characterized with concentration or of thoughts. The second one is retentive listening. It retains knowledge or make a stable knowledge. The third one, reflective listening. It reflects on ideas what we heard from the speaker. The last one is reactive listening. With reactive listening, it means you have reactive listening, a readiness to react. It means you are ready to react or give opinion, thoughts on the speaker topic. So the second one is social listening. This may also be classified into the following. So we have three social listening. The first one is appreciative listening. So you give pleasure or appreciation to the speaker. The second one, conversational listening. You give attention to the one who's talking, um, and make a healthy conversation for a healthy relationship. If you have a good conversation, you can build a good relationship. The last one is courteous listening. So it means you just keep silent and give attention to the speaker so that the speaker become inspired and didn't get distracted. So levels of listening. And listening, likewise, there are 6 levels a listener may go through. I prefer to settle with. They are as the follows. First one is ignoring. So it involve denies or ignore the speaker. Um, while the speaker is communicating to the speaker, the no no while the speaker is communicating to the listener didn't listen to the speaker from for some reason and completely denies or ignore the speaker. Pretending, so this is just for the sake of courtesy. While the speaker is communicating, the listener are blanky or didn't um, understand or get the point of the speaker. Third one, selective listening, listening with eyes and ear. Um, while the speaker is communicating, the listener choose she or he wants to listen, or she or he just choose what topic she want. And the fourth one, attention listening, attentive listening. Sorry. Um, listening with eyes, the ear, and mind. So, while the speaker is communicating, the listener give his her attention with his or her eyes, ear, and mind. So it's involve eyes, ear, and mind. The fifth one, sympathetic listening. So it's involved with eyes, ears, mind, and heart. The listener understand well the speaker and give his her attention wholeheartedly to the speaker. Empathic listening. So the highest level, all are involved with actions of body. So it's a very emphasized listener. So this is the last part, roadblocks to listening. The following are some bad habits in listening that should be avoided. Hostility to speaker. So it's a bad attitude of listener. It can be biased and makes the speaker distracted. The second one, daydreaming. So it's happened when daydreaming as an internal barrier to the listener. So it's happened when the listener get bored listening the speaker just because he or she don't like the speaker or the topic. Third one, prejudging. Prejudging. Some listeners are given to make judgment even before listening. So the listener give an early judgment to the speaker that can lead to a wrong interpretation of the message. The fourth one is selective listening. As selective listener choose channels, uh, she or he turns on and off whenever or and when wherever she or he pleases. Mm. Some listener are choose what she or he wants to listen. They just listen to the speaker when they like the topic. So yon. The fifth one is close-minded. This occurs when the listener is overconfident. So some listener are close-minded, or should I say overconfident, to the point that they didn't listen to the speaker because they believe that they are the right one and the speaker are wrong. Sixth, listening background. Mm, his culture, beliefs, morals, biases, and prejudices can serve as obstructions to effective listening. If you have the last one, distractions. These may come in different varied forms like personal, physical, um, environmental, and perceptual or semantic. These are can be form of distractions or can lead to distractions to the speaker. So that's all. Thank you for listening.